Jai Gurudev. Today I will read the book Change of Thoughts Changes the Era by Shriram Sharma Acharya. Apparently, what a man seems doing, what the society appears as a whole, is only the reflection of contemporary ideologies embedded in that. Beliefs and recognitions originate in the inner self in the shape of motivation, desire, and all the activities are their repercussion. Everything a man seems doing is simply the outcome of those beliefs deeply seated in his conscience. The different lifestyles and activities among different persons and societies is a result of diversity embedded in their beliefs, virtues, and values that one is adhered to control every person's activities. Saint Emerson once predicted, in future, the world will see the extinction of wars. He observed that the reason behind the outcome of wars is the deeply rooted cognition to words like enemy, turmoil, fight, victory. In future, ideologies of global harmony, global religion, global citizen, and world as a family will take place, and people in general will take interest in selfless service to the humanity. There will be no enemy then. All will be helpful to others. It is very possible to bring this transformation in human nature. Intellectuals of the world, by their serious efforts, can achieve this. The change in ideologies and values will change the nature of men, and in result, wars will come to an end. This prediction is not an illusion but a latent truth. In future, there will be a rebuilding of mass thoughts. A storm of thought revolution will arise, and all the depressions and aberrations of today will be scattered in the air like straws. New thoughts will build a new society and transform a new man, establishing new traditions, and a bustle of new activities will be visible. It is not wise to think that people will not adopt new ways of living and adhere to old practices only because they have any rapport or convenience with the present illicit beliefs and will face problems and inconvenience in accepting transcendent ideologies. Truth is otherwise. Present ideologies have made the life of people impoverished, complicated, and troublesome. Bearing them is hitting hard. Let someone talk about the well-being and revelry for a while, but peeling off inside will expose nothing else but agony, frustration, and annoyance. Everywhere, every person has the same story to tell. No one is satisfied with his fellow beings and circumstances. All are dissatisfied with their life they lead internally or externally. Concept of transcendency is not even clear to us. It is therefore very difficult to visualize the situations based on them. We do not understand the whole concept because this is not in practice in our surroundings. If ever such a society or environment happens visible, only then one can visualize the merits of transcendent life. Then definitely people will start changing over to those conditions and will clearly feel that how peaceful, easy, and cheerful it is to lead a life without transcendent ideologies rather than to lead an awesome life based on illicit beliefs. The day will come, rather will be forced to come, when people will see the pleasant potentials of transcendent thoughts being materialized and will be ready to embrace them with wholehearted dedication. A completely changed new era will be visible. Then, according to the prediction of Saint Emerson, wars will not only meet a total end, but all aberrations like diseases, sorrows, foes, scarcity, dissatisfaction will be over. People will lead a life full of gratitude and fervor, and in those conditions, there will be anonymous consent to accept the man as Devata and acceptance of socio conditions as heaven. This change is not possible with arsenals. Inflicting punishment or coercion of law is confined to physical body only. Restricting the body and allowing the sentiments to go in opposite direction will not maintain the order for long. Man is so clever that by breaking the restrictions, he will manipulate his own apparent or secret ways to satisfy his inner emotions and desires. Even after death, his soul in new body will start performing the deeds as per its previously earned sacraments. Transformation of man is merely the transformation of thoughts. Change in beliefs changes the attitude and lifestyle of person. A person who is leading life in hell like situations and causing trouble to others, his activity can be reversed to positive if he is reversed emotionally too. He can lead a transcendent life by adopting a refined attitude for himself and can please all living nearby with eternal fragrance. The authentic change is the change of attitude, ideology, and it will cause not even man but whole society, world, era, and everything to change on that basis. To change the mass perception, such scenario and opportunities should be created that can cause the people to make a conjecture as to what type of environment can be created by adopting transcendent ideologies and beliefs. These acts and experiments will facilitate the people to understand the whole situation. This will be feasible to understand such institutions, families, hostels, and cooperative societies where people having refined positive attitude live virtually all together and motivate the general mass to follow the same life by propagating the available facilities. People imitate the wrong, then why not the good ones? Goodness has always overpowered the badness. Goodness based on solid proofs will spread more rapidly than evil. However, this is the episode of future. Here we have to start with A, B, C. We are short of the persons of PS mentality who can venture together. No one can create transcendency in a day. It takes a long period of penetrating study, satsang, and mental resurrection for perfection. The people who ameliorate to be civilized in fervor take no time in sliding back to their parent position. Therefore, the program that we have started to establish a new and transformed world is to work extremely hard to deliver the matured shape to scientific and logical pleas and efforts of transcendency to the hearts of masses. During the bygone days, spiritual and religious teachings were delivered on the illogical cosmic basis of holy books, homily, occult powers, pleasing the deity, etc. Even today, religious discourses are based on this theory. Those bases are proving illogical and neglected in today's world of intelligentsia. One of the reasons of this negligence is that dimension of religion, which some time ago would have been result-oriented or prolific for devotees, but today does not prove its utility, and the people trash that religion by treating as unfeasible, imaginary, and non-productive. The correct scenario of religion is not as deceptive as is considered today. It possesses solid basics in its roots. Based on evidence, testimony, and truth, the principles of religion and spiritualism are solid, and it is advisable to intelligently present transcendent ideologies suitable in today's conditions. This requirement, if met with more fruitful manner, there is no reason why the present generation will not accept it. The effective and logical propagation of communism within last 50 years made half the population of the world not only its follower, but they also started implementing that into their life. Spiritualism is far more emotional, stable, transcendent, and far more comprehensive. If, therefore, presented skillfully, there is no reason that masses will not accept and embrace it. It should clearly be understood that man symbolizes nothing but emotions and beliefs. His all activities are mere reflection of his alliance. Society is merely a group of different people and they determine its distinguishing characteristic. If we require transcendent people, transcendent society and era, the only way out is to create a planned system where everyone should be in constant touch of transcendent thinking. Only the persons influenced by the transcendent thinking can stably accept the transcendent working. Their increasing number can create a new world of transcendence. With the change of season, we change our clothing style. Here, the change of era is going to be present extraordinarily changes. It is better that we timely try to mold ourselves as per approaching days and, if possible, make our life blissful by choosing the role of monkeys and bears as narrated in Lanka Kand of Ramayana. In the days to come, no person will be able to earn his livelihood based on wealth inherited or by effortless earnings of interest and rent. Wealth will be under the control of government. Every person will have to manage his earning by hard work only. Relying on these potentialities, people should shun the useless dream of being wealthy, accumulation of wealth, or leaving plenty of property and wealth for grandchildren. More the accumulation of wealth, more will be the sorrow at leaving that voluntarily. The days of owning personal wealth and luxurious lifestyle are over. In these circumstances, people who own the wealth to bypass that to their grandchildren, it is in their own interest to return that to the society in time. Return should be skillful too. Satisfying the physical needs of clothing, dwelling, food, providing water huts, constructing hospitals, dwelling rest houses can merely physically benefit the people. Virtually, only social workers or physically handicapped should accept anything as free. If any advantage is illogically enjoyed by a worthy person without paying its remuneration, this will be deemed as begging. Begging is shameful for any worthy person. Own conveniences should be arranged by paying for them. It is understandable to arrange dharmashala, water hut, etc. for needy people and poor, but enjoying these facilities by worthy persons, let it be an ego-satisfying factor for the donor, will cause them shame and downfall. Generally, people donate for name and applause and not oriented by discreet. In the same reference, the case of temples providing so-called shelter, food, service to the Almighty is subject to discussion. In early times, noble altruists constructed the temples as the center point of mass awareness, and the persons staying there used to conduct many social service programs, and money spent on the establishment of those temples was fruitful and worthy. Today, situation is changed. Temples today are merely a means of providing luxurious amenities to the selfish owners. Devotees construct the temple assuming as Almighty is human being and by managing shelter, food, clothing, etc. For him, he will provide manifold advantages in return after one's demise. This attitude is very mean. God is a divine power, not a human being. Perception and generosity, adopted to uplift the human race and efforts for their welfare, can be the only medium to please him. The person capable in doing the valuation of explicability and absurdity of donation understands that the only reason behind all the sorrows and issues is the human non-prudence, and to annihilate non-prudence completely, means should be arranged to develop transcendence thinking necessary for this happiness and equanimity. To meet this requirement, there is no arrangement to start and propagate a program like Jnana Yagya. Donations exercised to meet this necessity of time can be considered as justified. If one donates in a useful way, the society as a whole will be benefited and the donor will get self-satisfaction. Those who have wealth more than their requirement should donate the excess portion for the social cause. Hundreds of millions are donated to temples and ashrams, but the help and succor of only rupees 30 lakhs made by Bhama Shah made history because of its worthiness for a great cause. Howsoever mighty was the greatness of freedom struggle of Rana Pratap, the small help of Bhama Shah was no less applauded. There is no other means in the world than Jnana Yagya to serve the world civilization. The foundation of welfare of the whole world is to be laid on the success of thought revolution, moral revolution, and social revolution. So we have to irrigate this root and fascinate the future of the whole world. Wherever is the plethora of wealth, this should neither be retained for luxury nor be distributed among grandchildren. Parents are responsible merely for developing the sense of self-dependency among children. Dying with signing up wealth to grandchildren and conforming their decline to destroy their present and future life by enjoying immoral earnings is not wise. The significance of leftover wealth of sustenance is neither in deposition nor in expanding in luxury, nor in leaving that to relatives for expanding it in worthless manner, but in obliging this back to the society for the righteous use for the welfare of all. The second stage associated with forthcoming change is the end of discrimination based on caste and gender. The unjust and illogical wall created among people cannot stand for long. Man has one caste and it will remain so. The orthodox structure of establishing difference between high ups and lower ones and further discrimination among them will be dilapidated very soon. It has no logic or basis but the losses only. Mahakal will no longer tolerate such illogical idiotism and its abolition is imminent in coming days. We should annihilate casteism from our life. The difference of kitchen is no longer prevalent in collective foods of Gayatri Yagyas. Every person eats only plain food and khichdi. Millions of people without the difference of caste and creed gather on the congregations. This custom has a great repercussion on the society and beliefs of spoiling one's religion simply even by the touch of someone else is completely annihilated. After the bread comes the episode of daughters. In this regard, people are not mature enough. Hence, to begin with, we have been telling to gradually remove restrictions of subcastes at the time of setting the marriages. All important sects like Brahmins, Kshatriya, Vaishya should come forward to take a solid step to form one large unified sect by breaking down the small subcastes. Person of one subcaste should not hesitate to marry in another subcaste associated with the same large sect. All sects should take similar steps. This will facilitate to settle marriage proposals efficiently and annihilate the hateful dowry system. People should form committees among different subcastes to facilitate the formation of one large sect by ending many subcastes. A large number of people tend to boast of their own subcaste, try to prove them better than others, and try to create a feeling of separation with other subcastes. This has proven injurious rather than beneficial. To fight against these people efficiently, progressive Brahman wing, progressive Kshatriya wing, progressive Vaishya wing, progressive Kayastha wing, and so on should be formed, and this will be one step ahead in the direction of ending caste discrimination. Ultimately, there has to be one caste or sect, the humans. Tomorrow, at the least, we have to accomplish the goal of world as a family. We can clearly see the naked dance of heinous restrictions emanated from dictatorial and aristocratic attitude of men against women. What is the necessity of veil? The cows, buffaloes, sheep, goats are not veiled and can open the voice as and when they wish. Women deprived of the freedom as such, forced to veil their face like attaints, and not allowed to utter a word with anyone are supposed to be disgrace to humanity. Due to their untouchable condition, women remain on back foot in the field of education and self-dependency. All-time foundations, control and coercion demoralized women to great extent. Her health also deteriorated due to forced pregnancies. In our society, women are in worse conditions than the prisoners in jail are. If the conditions is not changed, half of our population will continue to sit idle and not of any use. Time has come to take bold steps to end this scenario. Girls' education should be given maximum attention. Adult education for housewives and elderly women should be arranged in every locality of the area. This should be the duty of male persons to operate domestic schools and should sort out some time to educate the girls and women of family. This is the wise way to make best use of time than roaming here and there. Women should be made responsible for some outdoor work also so that they become adept in public dealing and get rid of the feeling of inferiority complex. Son and daughter should be treated as equal as left and right eye, and equal opportunities should be available for the development of both. Birth control should be administered sternly, and this is very much necessary with the view of defending her mental and physical health. There should be full stop of childbirth after 2. The temptation of having children in poor, illiterate and undeveloped country like ours is so high that in case of not having offspring, couple become grief-stricken and consider themselves as unfortunate. While the fact is that in today's situation, growth in population should be considered as a burden on land and a crime equal to sedition. On the other hand, we should appreciate the fate of couple who do not have children. They can earn well wishes of many by contributing their energy spared from caring the kids to more valuable jobs of social service, and the money that could have been spent for upbringing them can be used in more valuable work of rebuilding the society. Only those persons who deem it very necessary should opt for marriage. Those who have any reservations about the burden of marriage should not be pressed for doing so. Demand of dowry is heinous insult to women. Wherever this demand is unavoidable, the girls should enthusiastically come forward against it by declining to marry and should lead rest of life unmarried. Instead of entrusting the daughter to cruel dowry-demanding flesh traders, this is better that she remain virgin. Global harmony is seen as the third phase of change of era. The idea of global harmony can be accomplished only by adopting the composite theory of one nation, one religion, one God, one philosophy, one culture, one language, and it will be possible to bind the whole world with the thread of unity and love only by considering the world as a family. To achieve this, liberal attitudes of virtual receptivity should be developed. People should stick to the principle of best is ours rather than ours is the best. All people praise of their own religion and language. Uniformity will remain impossible to achieve until everyone becomes ready to surrender their attachments, and without that, progress will remain standstill. We should analyze all the religions and philosophies of the world and embrace the most suitable principles as per present day situations, and thus will follow the religion of world. We should start thinking with a view of global power, global nation, and global harmony. If the attitude of justice, humanitarianism, nobility is adopted rather than partiality, and the same vast idealism is propagated, then not only the wars will meet their ends, but the feeling of working and enjoying the fruits on the basis of equality will gain its strength. If the cutthroat competition, opportunism, is transformed into mutual cooperation and productivity, then undoubtedly heaven-like conditions will arise on this planet. Politicians can easily accomplish this job, but the wisdom of doing it is far from them, because the beneficial opportunity of becoming the leader and exploiting its merits does not originate among them from the sentiments of abolishing the separatism and efforts towards encouraging the activities of unity. We should always be willing to get the opportunities to develop this process of unity in personal and social life. Social reformers should manage to gather the persons of diverse thoughts at one place where the thoughts of unity rather than discrimination can be put forward. Distances widen the differences, and meeting every now and then increases proximity. Fourth phase is of changing individuality to collectivity. It is not right to say that only wealth has made man selfish and caught in greed and attachments. Every field of altruism, that even social reforms, religion, and spirituality is be made to meet selfish individual gains. This is a fact that the Almighty softens by pious deeds and revered behavior filled with help and succor than by our offering. The same rule applies in case when we consider the whole world as God. Managing free distribution of basic amenities like food, clothing, medicines, and other physical requirements are different methods of service to the humanity. Moreover, multi-million time of that service can be done by elevating the level of their thoughts and attitude. Persons of revered emotions are capable of solving problems of others as well as their own personal problems, and do not take much time to enlighten the gloomed situation. The subvention of this benchmark can be considered as the best kind of adoration to God and imbibing the soul into Almighty. We should take care of society in the same manner as we take care for our family and ourselves. When we consider the whole world as our family, how can it be justified to die and dissolve for a handful of them? A wise family head takes care equally of all the members of family and manages to arrange amenities for all of them. We should be broad-hearted like that and try to develop such broad-mindedness. Heaven, undoubtedly, is the name of transcendent thinking, attaining which the working style and attitude of the person becomes so self-contented and peaceful that every time he feels like staying in Nandanvan. This is childish thought to consider the God as human being and that he can be impressed, attracted with the means of some material offerings, appreciation, and we can befool him for some selfish material gains. These days, all the worship and adoration is centralized to the illusion that God is a human, and so-called devotion can manipulate favors from him, considering that all weaknesses of humans are imbibed in God. This kidding is now old age, and on many criteria, its uselessness has been testified. Now, we have to raise the level of devotion to the extent that can attract and impress the Almighty by our transcendent working and excellent sentiments. Surrender of individualism in totality has been the principle of transcendent living of saints and Brahmins since very long. Every heart should be treated as the temple of God and transcendency should be honored as deity. The flowers of perception, fidelity, and good deeds only are the decorations of God. We should experience equanimity and true cosmic process by bathing in the emotions of faith originated with the combination of perception and work. The approaching time will belong to true religion, true spirituality, and true dedication. Let the adoration be minimum in that, but everyone will experience that every single part of our conscience and every moment of routine working is dedicated for the social welfare. There will be an end to personal ambitions. People will accept simplicity in means and generous lifestyles as satisfactory and sufficient. The center of their ambitions will concentrate on upliftment of global perception and virtual tendencies. This process of change will not happen all of a sudden. No saint or deity can accomplish it by some magic trick. To achieve this, millions of people will have to work at large and every conscious person will have to be courageous enough to face the obstacles like bears and monkeys of Lord Ram. To lead this great program, serious devotees are urgently required who can gratify their life by performing the historic role of resurrection by devoting their selfish interest for contemplating Almighty's desires, need of the era, and for peace and harmony around the globe. The time of transformations is approaching fast. This is the time to undergo the process of childbirth and of litmus test. The persons who are sacrament-oriented will be trusted critically. They will have to live a lifestyle that could be adapted by others. The teaching of character can best be given by virtual performance and not by words. Those who possess whatever amount of human pride and cosmic greatness should firmly proceed to present their proportionate level of enthusiastic work to the whole world. Yug Nirman Yojana has most urgently undertaken this important job. The spiritual ideology of transcendency embedded with the present-day situations is being presented in such a way that every common person can easily understand and accept its feasibility. All thoughtful and long-sighted intellectuals appreciate the process of building up transcendent thinking capable of transforming a new world is being implanted. This fact is unanimously accepted that if the ideology of Yug Nirman is retreated effectively, definitely it will change people's attitude and their thinking will be modified. This will facilitate the generation of new activists in that society and new strategies to modify that. This job of building ideologies is being done by the central office of Yug Nirman Yojana in the shape of very cheap and motivating literature. Almost 3,200 books, motivating tracts, folders, pocketbooks, articles, magazines, etc. are already on stands and more are in waiting. They are translated in many languages of the world. However, merely writing and publishing is not going to touch the milestone. Most important job is publicity so that these thoughts can reach to every person of society. If this is not managed in proper manner, then all publishing will remain in dustbins feeding the rats and ants and will be used to making carry bags. Expansion is more important than building up. Single or couple of persons can perform the act of building, but inspiration and hard work of plenty of persons is required for expansion work. If we can manage this process systematically, then we can conclude that we have achieved the target of person building and social building. Era is changing on this basis. Every devotee impressed with Yug Nirman Yojana should be ready to take bold steps to energize the activities in that direction. This is the call of time and our request and appeal. Jai Gurudev.